clarification. It's good to hear it. John Lay. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm John Lee from Camas. Thank you for your service. If you listened to the news yesterday, you may have heard a story about Rite Aid and CVS refusing to accept Apple Pay as a new swipe-and-go feature for customers to pay their bills. In the current skirmish, the issue was over retailers paying a 2% or more in fees, better known as swipe fees, to credit card companies for customers who use that Apple Pay. Yes, two major retailers are fighting about a 2% fee. Why is this relevant to you, our elected leaders? Because 2 weeks ago, the C-TRAN Board of Directors agreed to sign another horrible contract with TriMet. TriMet is attempting to create an electronic fare collection system where they will spend $30 million taxpayer dollars. C-TRAN agreed to pay $1.7 million up front plus $46,000 a month for TriMet to collect fares from C-TRAN passengers, and that has an automatic inflation adjustment in the contract. C-TRAN will spend $552,000 in its first year. That $550,000 annual fee could buy one brand new bus each and every year to better serve our customers. There's one more relevant fact. C-TRAN passengers only pay for 20 to 25% of total costs. The taxpayers make up the rest. So when C-TRAN agrees to spend money, 75% or more of that money is coming directly from taxpayers, not the people who ride the bus. Will C-TRAN be able to eliminate staff positions or save money in any other area as a result of this expenditure? No. The staff was asked that question at the board meeting and said there were no identified savings. Looking at the $46,000 monthly expenditure another way, that's about 7% of the passenger fares C-TRAN collects. That's where yesterday's news story comes in. Two private businesses reject paying a 2% fee, and yet a government transportation agency in our community has absolutely no problem paying an almost bankrupt TriMet a 7% fee with no identified savings. Philip Keitel, a senior analyst at the Federal Reserve Bank in Philadelphia, has studied electronic transit fare payments. He said there's no clear business case to use these contactless credit or debit cards. Commissioner Barnes, by voting no, you could have stopped this outrageous expenditure of taxpayer money. I'm disappointed that you voted to allow C-TRAN to sign another horrible contract with TriMet. You, me, and all Clark County taxpayers will be paying with our own money. I want to thank Commissioners Medor and Milkey for voting no and standing up for common sense citizens. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Could I make a comment, Mr. Lake?
You may.
Whenever I go to Portland International Airport and they swipe my card to fly on your airline, do I have a choice that the charges that the bank makes, that the airline makes, that are making tremendous profits, no matter which airlines it is? If I want to fly on your airlines or any other airlines, they got to swipe my card, my debit card, or I got to write a personal check in order to give you a paycheck in order for you to be able to fly that airplane that you fly in all the time. So I don't have a choice of that. But we did have a choice for the benefit of the taxpayers of Clark County to make it easier for those folks so that they don't have to have their pocket full of nickels and dimes in order to stick in there. And if you look at what we did, it's no different than when you go downtown and you see that little box in the middle of the sidewalk that where you put your money in there, your credit card in for your parking. It's identical to doing the same thing. So you get the benefit of me every time I fly. I have no choice if I want to fly your airlines or any other airlines. I got to let them swipe my card, and they can charge whatever they want to. The airline could charge whatever they want to, so that you get a check and you get a pension and you get a health and welfare out of it. Okay?
Yes,
Thank
sir. You do have a choice. In my wallet, I have an American Express card.
Right.
They charge about a 4% fee, which the retailers pay in less revenue to the company. I also have a Visa that retailers only pay about 3%, reducing their cost and revenue by just 3%.
But why don't the
And I
airlines do the
also
same
have a
thing then?
swipeable Starbucks card. Starbucks pays 0% in losing their revenue for the same form of electronic payment. And yet C-TRAN didn't choose to try and create a zero loss of revenue payment system. They didn't choose to use a Visa card that only costs 3%. They didn't even choose to use an American Express card that costs 4%. Instead, they chose something that will take 7% of passenger revenues out of the pockets of C-TRAN, and ultimately that means the taxpayers are going to have to make up that difference. And that's where I believe the public was not well served, because it's the taxpayers making up that difference.
Thank you.
So just all the profits that the airlines make, why don't they reduce their
Well, that-
charges then?
We were talking about C-TRAN.
Yeah, well, it doesn't make any difference. I'm comparing one to the other. It's the same
Carol
difference.
Lebanon?
Same difference.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make just one point.
Sure.
And that is that the C-TRAN customers, many of the riders, they don't even have a bank account. And to ask them to take $50 or so upfront, put it onto a card that can only be used to ride a bus is not more convenient for a lot of them. It's a hardship for a number of them. So you've got to keep in mind, who are we serving?
Yep.
Who are our customers?
Okay, Carol Lebanon? What the part that made me kind of comical to me is that we're going to have 2 fare boxes now on every bus.